Hello everyone. In this video we are going to take a look at how to use Logic Builder in order to implement a simple piece of automation. We are going to create a script, or a flowchart as it's called in Logic Builder, which would send a notification to a user whenever any activity they created is commented by another user. Before we begin creating our script, we are going to import metadata from the Sugar instance we are targeting. We can do this using flowchart import sugar metadata option available in the menu. We do this in order to have access to any custom fields or modules which might be present in the sugar instance. Every Logic Builder script begins with a trigger. Since in our case we are interested in the addition of a new comment, we are going to use the trigger called onDataChange, which fires whenever any record in sugar is updated or inserted. In order to place this trigger, we are going to right-click on the canvas, select Place Operator option in the context menu, and start typing the name of the trigger, onDataChange. As you can see, the list of all operators narrows down to just the one value we need. As you can see, onDataChange has two inputs, module and event type. For our module, we are going to select comments, since this is the module we are interested in. And for event type, we are going to select after save, since we'd like this trigger to fire after the comment has already been created. On the right side of this operator, you can see several outputs. The first one is used to direct the execution flow to the next operator in the script. All of the rest are data outputs. They provide values which we may use in other operators. Note that the data outputs are of different colors. They are color-coded according to their type. For example, the red ones are sugar records, the pink one is boolean, so either true or false, and the green square represents a collection of strings. Data sockets for collections are generally represented by squares, while single data values are represented by circles. There are other types of data in Logic Builder besides sugar records, booleans, and strings, and we are going to use some of them in our script. The first step we are going to take in our flowchart after onDataChange is to retrieve the activity to which this comment is related. To do this, we are going to use retrieveEntity operator. We can access it either using context menu as I've shown you before, or instead we can go to Toolbox, Operators by Category, and select the operator we need from this list here. We can narrow it down as well. So we can select retrieveEntity from here and connect it to the execution flow from onDataChange. We select the module we are interested in, activities, and as you see we need an ID. To retrieve an ID from the entity record which onDataChange provides, we are going to use the operator called getEntityAttributes. As you can see, this operator takes a sugar record as its input, so we can provide the comment which onDataChange returns. And it can have one or more outputs. Each of them is a value of a certain field of the record. In our case, we need parent ID. But also we are going to retrieve the value of created by field. We are going to use it further in our script in order to check whether the author of the comment is different from the author of the activity. Otherwise it would be pointless to send a notification. We pass the value from parent ID field to retrieveEntity operator as its ID input. And now we can use the activity record returned by retrieveEntity operator further in our script. GetEntityAttributes is an example of an operator which has no control flow sockets such as these ones. Such operators can be used anywhere in the script without connecting them to the execution flow. We are going to need several values from activity as well. That's why we are going to use getEntityAttributes once more. Let's place it on the canvas. Note that the menus for field names are actually empty. They are populated only when we pass the actual entity we are interested in. And at this point, all of this is taken from the metadata which we imported at the beginning of creating our script. Any custom fields which might be defined for this module would also be present in this menu. From activity we are going to take parent ID and parent type. They identify the record on which this activity originally took place. Another value we need is created by. We need it first of all in order to know who to send our notification to, and secondly, we are going to use it to ensure that the author of activity is different from the author of the comment. We are going to compare this value and this value, and proceed only if they are different. To perform this comparison, we are going to make use of one of conditional operators available in Logic Builder. Namely, A doesn't equal B. As you can see, we may provide both of our inputs, and as a result, we get a boolean true or false value, based on which we may either proceed or terminate the execution of our script. To implement this basic kind of control flow, we are going to use branch operator, which is the same as an if then else instruction. As you can see, it takes a boolean condition and the execution flow from the previous operator in the script. The output sockets for execution flow in branch operator are pretty self-explanatory. We are only interested in this one. The execution will continue only if the condition is true. That is to say, only if the author of the comment is not the same person as the author of the activity. Now let's actually send our notification. And the way we do it in Sugar, as you may be aware, is by creating another record in a notification module. We may use create entity operator for this purpose. We connect the execution flow from the true output socket, and we specify that we'd like to create a new record in notifications module. Note that at this point, the notification we are creating isn't yet saved to the system. We are going to have to use save entity operator to actually save it, but before then we'd like to set some values for its fields, and we are going to use set entity attributes operator in order to accomplish this. For our notification, we are going to provide values for parent ID and parent type. In this way, we are going to link it to the record on which the activity took place. Another important one is assigned user ID, so that the notification is actually sent to the user. And finally, the content of our notification. We are going to set subject and description. For the first three fields, specifying the values is as simple as connecting the dots. We are going to take the values we retrieved from the activity. So parent ID and parent type are the same for both activity and notification, and the author of the activity is going to be the one to receive notification, so we specify activity is created by value as the value for assigned user ID in our notification. Note that blue sockets represent any type, so set entity attributes allows us to provide values of any type for our fields, and the same is true regarding the output of get entity attributes. For subject and description of our notification, we are going to use string values. For description, we will go with a simple string literal, which will say your activity has been commented on, and we just use this value. For subject, let's do something a little bit more interesting. We'll use concatenate strings operator, which allows us to build strings from several parts, from several different strings. We may use more than two parts, but for now two would be enough. The first part is going to be another literal, a comment to your activity has been posted on and space. And for the second part, we are going to specify the current date, and conveniently we have an operator which returns just the value we need. So we use it as the second component of our string, and the result we are going to assign to the subject field of our new notification. And we are almost done. The only step we need to perform is to save our notification. For this we are going to use save entity operator, which I mentioned before. And with that our script is complete. This is what it looks like in its entirety. In order to actually install the logic we've just implemented into Sugar, we are going to use flowchart, generate Sugar package option, which allows us to create a package which can be loaded into our Sugar instance using module loader. We can specify the description of the package, and when we press generate, we'll get a package which we'll be able to load into our Sugar instance. Now let's take a look at how our script actually performs in Sugar. As you can see, here we have an account record with an activity in its activity stream. It's been posted by Sarah Smith, and as you may see, we are logged in as a different user. Let's post a comment. Let's just say thank you. Now let's sign in as Sarah Smith and look at the notification we've got. So we've logged in as Sarah Smith, and as you can see, Sarah has got a new notification. The text is the same as we specified in our script, and also note that this notification is linked to the account on which the activity originally took place. So this is one of the ways in which we can use Logic Builder to create simple automation in just a few minutes. In the following videos we'll see more examples. Thank you.